after what seems like an age, we finally get the new Ghostbusters film. A lazy, inconsistent, and unneeded attempt to reboot a perfectly fine franchise. Now, as we all know, this film sparked controversy as soon as it was announced. Ghostbusters was an already loved film series, so I feel that this film was kind of dead from the day it was announced. So I thought this could give, the director and, Melissa McCarthy, all those actors, a chance to really reinvent the Ghostbusters series, put their own spin on it, have done with the older films with Bill Murray and stuff, and really concentrate on making this Ghostbusters film what they wanted it to be, not in the shadow of, the original. Unfortunately, this is not what happened at all, in my opinion. First of all, the plot is eerily familiar to the first film. You have the Ghostbusters who are like these professors at a college or this building, and then they get fired, and then they have to set up their own thing on their own back, fighting ghosts. And then you have this one innocent guy who gets possessed by a ghost, who then wreaks havoc on New York City and tries to open a gateway for all the other ghosts to enter New York City and our world from their world. And it's up for the Ghostbusters to save humanity. And that's just a sign to come of all of the other lazy attempts that this film has to try and make this film somehow good. Having the plot run as similar to the original is, one, like I said, lazy, and two, it's really too safe, I think. Now, don't get me wrong, this reboot kind of way of doing the plot has worked before, Star Wars Episode 7, that worked. The plot was quite similar to that of Episode 4. However, they managed to pull it off. With Ghostbusters, it doesn't seem to work. Even though this film was branded as a comedy kind of film, it was the most hit and miss comedy I've seen in a film ever, really. It was all forced, there was no fluidity in the dialogue or comedy, and the timing just seemed to be off. I mean, yes, some of it was good, and some of it was weird, but also good. But the problem was, too often a time, I was watching the film, hearing these jokes, and I just wasn't laughing. The comedy was so inconsistent. Summing up this film entirely, it was an inconsistent attempt at comedy. It almost tried too hard in the comedy department. When they had, especially Bill Murray in the original film, you could see that he was kind of being himself in the film. And I don't want to compare this to the original too much, but Bill Murray in the original, he was allowed to really, you could see he was being himself in that film. He was really trying to make the film his own, And that comedic approach in that way really carried the film forwards. But in this, it was a lot more scripted, it was a lot more forced, very hit and miss. I would almost like to see Melissa McCarthy and all the other actors really kind of loosen up a bit, kind of be more themselves, I think, and that would have really helped with the overall comedy aspect of it. Now, I did enjoy Holtzman in this film, portrayed by Kate McKinnon. She's probably the most interesting character out of the 4 Ghostbusters, I thought, in the fact that she's not your conventional female character. I thought she was very unique in that aspect, and she really offered something different to the other characters. Chris Hemsworth's performance, on the other hand, as Kevin the secretary, I wasn't entirely convinced on. Most of his comedy was the hit and miss comedy I was talking about. It was almost weird, I thought. Some of it was good, yeah, but apart from that, also, his character didn't really hit home with me. I didn't really enjoy it that much. However, I did enjoy the effects they used. I liked the neon colours they used for the ghosts. It felt like it was a more vamped up version of the original Ghostbusters in the effects area. As much as I didn't want it to be, this film really does live in the shadow of the original, though. I felt that this film was kind of riding on the back of the original film, just because it had the Ghostbusters name, which was kind of a curse for it anyway, because the fact that it was called Ghostbusters was bound to generate hate. I think it had a definite aspect of fan service and cameos of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Sigourney Weaver, and including the car, and using the old suits and having the old building. Bill Murray's character especially, I think, was not needed at all. You know, they stretched his character out, not for no particular reason, just other than to have Bill Murray in the film, which was, yes, nice, but the way they included Dan Aykroyd's cameo was good. He was just a cab driver. But Bill Murray's trying to stretch that out a bit, trying to, you know, appeal to that older audience, which I didn't feel worked anyway. And yeah, like I said, I really think this film was just living in the shadow of the originals. You know, when I first heard about this film, I was confused more than anything else. I thought, why are they trying to reinvent an already much loved film series, you know? But then, a couple of days before I was going to see this, I thought I was interested by the film. I was willing to give it a shot, you know? I was willing to give it a chance. I wasn't going to judge it. I wasn't going to read any reviews of it until I'd seen it myself. But I think the fact that this film didn't really innovate in any particular way and recycled major plot points from the original, coupled with the hit and miss humour and forced, kind of not really fluid dialogue, it leaves me not really surprised in any way. I didn't really expect this to be particularly good. I was willing to give it a chance, but I wasn't expecting much. But I'm kind of disappointed that they couldn't have at least made a new plot, you know? Put their own spin on it. That was my biggest gripe about this film. It's sad to see a series like this get tarnished through a shoddy reboot, and I hope this example of a bad reboot shows to film studios that series shouldn't be rebooted purely for a cash profit. So Ghostbusters, the reboot to hopefully end all reboots.